Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video. This is a video I'm making right quick because something I never thought would happen in a million years has just been announced. ARK Additions, the mod series by mod dev Garuga, who arguably makes better creatures than ARK itself does, is actually getting his stuff ported as official content. This has never happened before, and it still feels insane saying that. According to Garuga, this has been planned months in advance, but to the rest of us it feels like he threw it at us out of nowhere like a homing Leo descending on you from the trees. I'm not seeing a lot of coverage on this, surprisingly. Ross Clark has, and so have some other channels, but not really serious big names. I suspect ASA's reception in general has made people more quiet, and trust me, I'll get to that later, but I really want to add my own voice to this thing. Garuga had a meeting Saturday to give context and detail to this whole thing that the Community Crunch didn't elaborate on. Managed to attend it on my lunch break, and when doing a general overview in Discord for the people who missed it, my number of points came to 10. Would you look at that? Video idea. So here I am. Anyone who's curious about my thoughts on ASA, because I've never really went into it on this channel, then wait till the end. This video isn't about my thoughts on ASA. It's about amazing creatures like Ceratosaurus becoming part of the official game. What does this mean exactly? And I'm sure there are some folks with specific questions on how this is going to go down. So here it is. 10 things you should know about ARK Additions becoming official to ARK Survival Ascended. Long title, sorry. As of the current agreement Garuga has with Wildcard, 10 ARK Additions creatures are eventually coming to ARK Survival Ascended. They are as follows: Ceratosaurus, Acrocanthosaurus, Archelon, Brachiosaurus, Concavinator, Cryolophosaurus, Deinosuchus, Dinotherium, Helicoprion, and Zephactinus. Please note that this is not going to be a super patch where they all come in at once. Many still need work and will need more time. This also doesn't mean all ARK Additions creatures are being added, nor are others out of the question. Premium mods will not become official, and this doesn't mean stuff like Dinocaris and Velociraptor won't become official when they eventually release. This is just the current game plan. Ceratosaurus and one other creature are planned to arrive to the official game in mid-May, which means 2 to 3 weeks from now most likely. Who will be Ceratosaurus' partner in crime is unknown at this time. Probably not Brach, Archelon, Conca, or Cryo for reasons I'll bring up later, but we'll see. I know one of the biggest concerns some people have to this news is how Wildcard will treat these creatures. ARK is well known for some creatures going through a pipeline, where brokenness in PvP means they eventually end up becoming kinda inept in their basic intended use. And it's understandable to be scared that Wildcard will take your favorite thing and butcher it. The truth is that this won't happen, thank God, for 2 reasons. First, Wildcard is collaborating heavily with Garuga and implementing them into the base game at every major step. They value his input and consent when it comes to creature tweaks. To clarify about something, Garuga straight up owns the ARK Additions creatures, not Wildcard. He holds the copyright, and Wildcard is paying the license to use them. A really progressive arrangement in an industry that loves to drain modders for every lick of passion they have, or kick them in the dick for daring to touch their project. Second, Wildcard really likes the current balance of ARK Additions creatures. The majority of creatures will get some tweaks in the transition, but very minimal. Apparently Zephactinus in particular will probably be just a complete 1-to-1 port and left at that. As for Ceratosaurus, it's described that slight modifications will be changed to its stats, including food, stamina, carry weight, and drag weight. Minor stuff. The biggest thing is that its venom is actually getting buffed. Wildcard wants its healing mechanic to be less reliant on using groups of them. And you know what? I don't think anyone is going to complain about a buff. To compensate, it'll be hard to tame though, so watch out for that. So, what will happen to the mod versions of these creatures after the official version releases? Nothing. The mods are staying, and they'll be perfectly usable after the fact. The mod's not going to break due to conflicts or something like that. The official Cerato and the mod Cerato, for example, will be different in the character blueprint. You can't port your modded dinos to official servers, but they won't break either. Probably the objectively most controversial thing announced, but alternate versions of creatures like X creatures, R creatures, Scorched Acro, Woolly Brachy, and Abyssal Surfactinus will not be coming to the official game. Believe it or not, this is Garuga's decision, not Wildcard's. Garuga wants the modded version of ARK Additions to still have some value, rather than being completely obsolete when they release officially. This is fair, I guess, but I can imagine the conflict this creates with people wanting to still use them, since that means disabling one version of the creature, and also just innate slight differences between the official version and modded variants will have. It kinda complicates things sadly, but it's how it is. New TLCs have been announced for Brachiosaurus, Concavenator, and Cryolophosaurus. All of these will get visual changes, but Concavenator and Cryolophosaurus in particular will be getting mechanical changes as well, in order to properly keep up with Ark Survival Ascended. Concavenator is getting said changes because of Solasuchus' existence, can't let the gator steal its thunder, and Cryolophosaurus has historically been a major pain in the ass in terms of development and bugs, so might as well rip the band-aid off before it gets added to the base game. The downside to this is that it means Concavenator and Cryo will take even longer to come back than they already were. Garuga predicts they'll come out in the latter half of 2024, probably Q4, around the holidays. Given all the stuff that's happening, I think it's good to remind everyone where Garuga currently stands in terms of what he's bringing to ARK. So here we go. His current top priorities are the Edmontonia Premium mod and Archelon TLC. Once those are done, he wants to go on to TLCing Concavenator and Cryolophosaurus. Velociraptor and Anomalocaris are the next new creatures planned, but they are not a priority at all right now. Same with Suchomimus, which is probably after all those. In terms of premium mods, Garuga doesn't really know where to go after Edmontonia. With premium still yet to come to console, and the new changes with how accessible premium mods are, it's still too soon to say whether they're worth investing time and effort into or not. Garuga is also content with not making a lot of them really. Maybe 2 a year or so, as he says. Archelon's TLC is comparatively recent news compared to all the other stuff planned for ARK Additions, and that's because the idea and work for it is pretty recent too. Basically, Garuga has been playing the actual game more recently, and he just can't fucking stand looking at the current Archelon. He thinks it sucks. And you know what? Any creator can tell you, sheer motivation and spite are some of the biggest drivers of progression in a project, so expect it soon. Outside of an entirely new look, there will also be changes to its algae mechanic. Instead of the resource passively generating in Archelon's inventory, like it currently does, it will instead grow on the creature over time in a new, really cool effect, as you can see here. You harvest the stuff off the turtle's body, like a sheep's wool or Leeds fish meat. These last 2 points are on ARK Additions premium mods, so technically not about ARK Additions coming to the official game, but it's still the same project, so it's worth noting. With the big announcement of ARK Additions becoming official, there's also an announced change to how premium mods will work. So how accessible is Garuga going to make said premium mods? Essentially, he plans to have Anomalocaris and Edmontonia work in a similar way to the creatures in Bob's Tall Tales like the Oasasaur. If you don't buy the premium mod, you will still be able to play on the server that has them in the world, and if you're in a tribe with someone that has tamed one, you can still use and play around with it, no problem. What you can't do is tame it on your own, craft a saddle, or claim an unclaimed one. Also, unlike the Oasasaur, you won't be able to spawn it in or force tame it. This is a much better and more fair system that will definitely keep said premium mods relevant in the long run. Garuga plans for a major update to the Anomalocaris mod to release around the time of Center's launch, and it will add the Alpha Anomalocaris. Alongside the typical alpha features, it will also have all of its hunting traits maxed out, and it will disguise itself as an alpha megalodon instead of an ichthyosaur. When killed, it will drop alpha Anomalocaris meat. This will do 2 things. First, feeding it to your Anomalocaris will make it able to invest even more levels into its hunting traits than it normally be able to. This means that, with work, you could, in theory, have a completely maxed out Anomalocaris. You'll also be able to craft the Anomalocaris cocktail with the meat. Garuga isn't 100% sure right now on what it'll do, but the current idea is that it will give the Explorer Note XP boost effect to whoever eats it, whether yourself or a creature. He also wants to do a chibi Anomalocaris that's received when killing the alpha, but no guarantees there. It's an idea. Alrighty everyone, that's everything of note really. I hope you all enjoyed. If you liked my work, then you could subscribe or become a part of my Patreon, and I hope to see you all next time. For those that are here for the main video, you are free to leave. However, I did want to discuss my current thoughts on ARK Survival Ascended, since I haven't really done a video about it on my channel before, for good reason. ASA, for the longest time, was a complete train wreck, and it still kind of is in a few ways. Its conception was 100% a get money quick scheme by Snail Games, given that it was originally planned as a free update, and Snail Games was, and still is, in the middle of a financial crisis. Snail Games in general has just been ARK's villain, with them doing a lot of awful stuff, like trying to completely rip us off by making us buy all these DLCs again initially, until there was basically an uprising and they had to cave. Along with them doing other heinous shit, like cheating and exploiting in their own game, basically killing PvP's potential for good. With only like 8 months to make a half new game, it's no surprise that ASA's launch was rough, to say the least. And Wildcard being very uncooperative with the community didn't help things either. I've always been a serious detractor of ASA because of these facts. However, my mood shifted for me when the Scorched Earth update and Bob's Tall Tales DLC came to the game. Not only was Scorched Earth's return essentially flawless, but Bob's Tall Tales is a great DLC that is absolutely worth the money. I know it's $30 and it doesn't have all its content right now, but keep in mind it's going to have 3 major parts with only 1 in the game right now. Currently, you get a buttload of cosmetics and role-playing items, plus carts, trains, and a whole new creature for what is essentially $10. It's great. Even the controversial Oasisaur isn't strong in the slightest. I still insisted that it didn't fit Scorched Earth's aesthetic, but then somebody noted to me that's basically the Cowboys and Aliens thing, and you know what, valid. So I've warmed up to ASA a lot more recently. I'm not really going to play it until all the content from ASA is back, but I'm still keeping a close eye on it. Eventually I plan to have an ASA server and do a long-lasting series in the game, with some mods like Garuga's premium mods. We'll see. To clarify also, I hate the concept of premium mods. It feels like the devs are leeching off of modders, especially with that 50% cut instead of something more substantial, and Wildcard's history with mod management means that it will eventually, undoubtedly, become a stomping ground for scammers. Garuga deserves all the support though, and he's always been a beacon of quality. He's the one exception I'm willing to make. The future of ASA itself is also kind of uncertain though. Snail Games is still on the decline, and the DLC and premium mods aren't going to stop that if ASA's launch didn't. What will happen when Snail Games eventually dies? I don't know. Alright, proper end of video now. Goodbye everyone.